Funding for this video was provided by the Scholars Strategy Network.
Voting is an important right of citizenship and gives us a say in the decisions that affect our lives, our communities, and our country. In this video, we are going to talk about who can vote in Connecticut, how to register to vote, and then cover the 3 main ways you can participate in elections in our state.
Hi, I'm Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas. Did you know this is a historic election year? Sure, we'll be voting for president, but for the first time ever in Connecticut, we have early voting. Under the new law, you'll be able to vote in person for 14 days before Election Day. You can have your say, your day, including nights and weekends. But there's more for us to do after the election because our policies are not written on Election Day. Whether it's working for election reform, sharing your policy ideas with the legislature, or choosing candidates, the power is with the people. And until we all believe this, it's very easy to feel like our votes don't matter. So please make your voice heard in every election. And then remember, our civic obligations don't end once we cast our ballots. We need to continue our civic engagement every day of the year. And if you don't know where to begin, we've got you covered. Visit our website at civics101.ct.gov for information about early voting and how to stay civically engaged all year long. The power is in your hands, and I can't wait to see how you use it.
Let's start with eligibility. If you can answer yes to the following 3 questions, you are eligible to register and vote in Connecticut. First, are you a United States citizen living in Connecticut? Second, are you at least 17 and you'll be 18 on or before Election Day? And third, if you've been convicted of a felony, have you finished your incarceration in a correctional institution? For felony convictions, every state has different rules as to when people are allowed to vote. In Connecticut, people convicted of a felony can register and vote after they've finished their time in a correctional facility. There are, though, some different rules that apply to election-related crimes. If you're incarcerated but you're not convicted of a felony, you are eligible to vote. In Connecticut, you can register or update your voter registration online or by filling out a voter registration form. Voter registration materials are available in English or in Spanish. There are a few ways to go about this in Connecticut. You can register online at myvote.ct.gov. You can download a voter registration form from myvote.ct.gov and mail it in, or you can register in person at Town Hall or at your DMV. In addition to providing basic information when you register, you will be asked if you want to choose a party or choose to be unaffiliated. In Connecticut, you have to designate a party in order to participate in that party's primary election. Primary elections determine who will represent the party in the general election. If you're not registered with a party, you can vote for whomever you choose in other elections. You just cannot vote in a primary election.
People can register to vote all year long and should update their registration if they move, change their name, or wish to change their party designation. If you are registering online or by mail, the cutoff is 18 days before an election or primary. However, if you are not registered online or by mail in time, Connecticut is one of 21 states that allow people to register in person and vote on Election Day. This applies to early voting periods too. Primary elections are a little different. You can register in person up until noon the day before. There may be additional waiting period if you are switching parties.
There are 3 ways to vote in Connecticut. First, let's talk about the way we are most familiar with, voting in person on Election Day. In Connecticut, polling places are generally open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. When you arrive at your polling location, you will check in and be verified as an eligible voter. The first time you vote in a federal election, you will show ID, like a driver's license. After that, you can show other forms of identification, such as a student ID, a credit card, or a work ID, or sign an affidavit that states that you are who you are. You will receive your ballot and be directed to a private space. After you have completed your ballot, you will walk it over to a secure machine that reads and registers your vote. If you are registered and you are in line when the poll closes, you will still have the right to vote.
Now let's talk about in-person early voting. Early voting is a new option in our state starting in 2024. Using it will look and feel a lot like voting in person on election day, but you may need to go to a different location than your usual polling place. The number of days of early voting varies depending on the type of election. Primary elections generally have a fewer days of early voting. Every early voting period has at least one weekend when you can vote and one weekday when you can vote in the evening. When you arrive at the early voting location, you will check in and be verified as an eligible voter. You will receive your ballot with an envelope and be directed to a private space. You will seal your complete ballot inside the envelope and place it in a receptacle. Envelopes will remain unopened until Election Day, when they will be counted with other ballots.
Finally, your third option to cast your ballot is to request an absentee ballot. Absentee voting in Connecticut is available if you're prevented from voting in person for one of the 6 reasons in Connecticut state law. While no excuse absentee ballot voting was permitted during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, it is no longer available. However, the Secretary of State's office notes that if a voter is taking care of someone who's immunocompromised or is themselves concerned about contracting an illness such as COVID-19, the voter may request an absentee ballot. Students living away from home can register and vote at their school address or apply for an absentee ballot from their home state. You can request an absentee ballot application online or apply in person at your local town clerk's office. In Connecticut, absentee ballots are mailed starting 30 days before the election and must be received by election officials no later than Election Day. Keep in mind that you will need to allow time for your application to be processed and for ballots to be mailed back and forth.
Don't miss your opportunity to vote. Be prepared for every election by taking a few easy steps. First, check to see that your voter registration is current, especially if you have moved or haven't voted recently. Checking it takes less than 20 seconds. Second, look up where you report to vote. Polling places change, and where you vote on Election Day may be different than where you vote during the early voting period. You can easily check both your registration and find your polling location by visiting myvote.ct.gov/lookup. Finally, you have rights as a voter, including the right to ask for and receive assistance during voting. All polling locations are accessible and are equipped with accessible voting options. You can also request a ballot in Spanish. All polling locations also have a video and audio translation service that offers translations in dozens of languages via video and audio, including American Sign Language. If you encounter any problems on Election Day, contact the Election Day hotline at 1-866-733-2463 or by email at elections@ct.gov. Go to myvote.ct.gov to find more information about your voting rights.
And you can find our videos, including why voting matters and other resources, on our website, votingassocialwork.org.